All right, guys, how's everybody doing today? Everybody have a good lunch, kind of recovered, get the digestive juices going, coffeeed up, ready for another couple sessions? So today I want to talk about AI and personalization and how that actually works within learning environments. I'm not going to do a product demo. Yes, I am a vendor. If you want a product demo, we're right behind you. We've got guys that are going to rock that for you. What I want to talk about is really kind of the concepts behind how AI will drive learning, really starting now. All right. There we go. So have this picture up just so you can see what I used to look like 2 years ago. Thanks, marketing. Appreciate that one. But today's objectives, well, actually, I'll go back and introduce myself. Sorry. My name is Josh Squires. I'm the director of enterprise accounts at Docebo. I've got a ton of years in the learning world. Yes, I'm an American, but I live in the Middle East, and I work for an Italian company, and spend most of my life on an airplane talking at events like this about learning and about cool stuff that we like to do. So that's me. And what we're going to talk about today is really how technology is equipping learners with the tools necessary to get them engaged, keep them engaged, and really kind of begin that long road of personalized learning. How does artificial intelligence deliver content based on the needs of the learner? Right? So how does AI figure out kind of what that learner wants, and how does it serve it up in a way that's useful? And then we're going to deal with a little bit about the engagement, productivity, and performance benefits that personalized learning delivers, or the potential that it delivers. Now, background on us is we've been training in AI now for about 3 years. It's been a painful process, lots of false starts, but we finally actually have something that we've released into the product in January, and we're going to continuously start releasing more and more into our product as the AI gets smarter and stronger. So Docebo is a cloud-based, AI-powered learning platform. We're not an LMS. We're not a learning experience platform. We do have LMS. We do have the experience piece, but we like to think of ourselves just as a platform that you can do learning on. And as AI becomes more and more of our strategy, I don't really know what we'll call ourselves, but we'll stay a learning platform for now. We were founded in 2005. We've got 5 offices across the world. We've got about 300 employees now, 1,600 customers, 90 countries, and we support 40 languages. Fair warning, our AI only speaks English and Italian as of today. So it doesn't speak 40 languages yet, but that's coming. So what is our platform? We kind of have the learning management bit, so the formal learning components, the lesson plans, the curriculums, the uploading your SCORM content, building out your face-to-face training plans, your webinar plans. We then have a very strong social component, which is basically the ability to share content, ask questions, have the system remember those questions, and serve it up. We have an extended enterprise, which is basically your externals to the organization, so your distributors, your sales networks, your partners, your VARs, and then all of that kind of is driven by this AI bit right in the middle. And so as a partner or a customer asks a question, it jumps over here to our Coach and Share. Coach and Share finds that answer and serves it up back over here into the LMS bit. And that can be then tracked and badged and gamified and reported against. All right, and we're done with Docebo. Now let's talk about AI. All right, so there's a lot of stuff going on in the market right now with AI. What is it? What do we do? What's going on? Just kind of get a pulse of the audience. How many of you guys are knowledgeable enough to say you feel comfortable having a conversation about AI in your job? Handful, all right? How many of you guys want to get confident about having it in your job? Everybody else. How many of you guys think that this topic will change how your business operates in the next 5 years? a lot more. All right, so, I mean, it's a hot topic. It's scary. It could be Terminator, we don't know. It comes alive. Skynet takes us out, right? So AI has an amazing possibility. It's got endless possibility for civilization and change how we do work, how we do learning. The automation of manual tasks, the ability for a computer to process an invoice and get it to where it needs to go, another computer to pick that invoice up, make sure the payment gets routed out, and then the product launches. That's kind of cool, but those are jobs that people currently do. So this AI concept is potentially scary because it might be taking my job, right? So, all right, let's change jobs. Let's teach the AI how to do stuff, but let's figure out how we can use it for learning. So right now, humans are programming AIs for the most part. Google apparently deleted a AI that programmed its own AI, and that freaked them out, and they just wiped that out. It's like, all right, we're not going to do that again for now. So for now, humans are developing the AIs, which is good. And the job is to make our daily jobs more efficient, to free up efficiency. I'd say right now, 30% of my job is not efficient at all. Right, so whether that's answering emails, that really, just archiving emails, organizing emails, sorting things out, planning emails that, I probably could template, but I'm too lazy to do it. Just the daily mundane things, the grind of our job that's not that fun. Kind of the near-term promise is AI is going to solve that. All right, and so some data that we've got going on. 8 out of 10 business leaders, and that was about the population of the survey I just did in the room, think that AI is going to be used for a competitive advantage. Well, 8 out of 10 think it's going to be used for competitive advantage. Now, let's kind of look at the generation of technology that we use for learning. So typically, we talk about learning technology as your LMS, right? So my learning management system is it's more of a push. Here's content. I'm the admin. I know what's best for you. Here's what you need to learn. Go learn it. You're now certified. Great. You can go on the job site, or no, not to sexually harass people. All good. So we've got our kind of formal learning plans. Sorry, I'm a Texan. I say stuff that doesn't always come out correctly. Formal learning, it's very much designed for admins, right? So this is a administrator-driven system, and that's kind of our Generation 1 LMS. That's kind of where people are like, yeah, you know what, I don't like learning. Generation 2 learning is kind of your social LMS, where Bob over there, he found some cool stuff, and he's going to share that with Samantha over there. The L&D role is about making sure Bob and Samantha are actually kind of learning a bit, and we want to make sure that the empowerment of learning happen. Gen 3, and this is kind of where we see the future of LMS, and we're trying to be part of that conversation quite heavily, is an AI goes out and finds stuff on the web, brings it into a platform, makes it discoverable for users, and based on how I like to learn, it says, hey, Josh, you really like to learn as it relates to puppies playing. So all of your learning is going to be related to puppies playing. Like, yeah, awesome, love puppies playing. All right? And L&D's role is mapping my desire to like puppies playing to specific skills that enable me to do my job and stay relevant within my organization. All right? So my preference for learning, and it may change depending on the time of day and where I'm at within the organization, the AI's job is to figure that out, map that against other systems, other users, and start suggesting it. And so we see that with YouTube, we see that with Amazon shopping preferences, Spotify, things like that. And so take those algorithms and drop them into the learning management system, and the real goal is it's about the personal learning experience. It's about the automation, so the L&D administrator doesn't have to push this stuff, right? Their job is to make sure that the learning goals are mapped to the business goals, right? So there's a gap in performance over here, so let's figure out how to address that gap. And the LMS's job is to go help me find content and curate it out to the end learner. So here's kind of a mind map or diagram of how we see AI and L&D working. So we've got skills gap analysis. All right, so I'm Josh. I am a C# programmer that wants now to transition into Python because company told me, boss told me I get a raise if I do Python. Awesome. So hey, LMS, I want to learn about Python. LMS says, yep, all right, cool. You want to learn about Python? I get that. Here's what 5 other learners who wanted to learn about Python do. They start sharing that out. The knowledge base then starts gathering information about Python and starts connecting you with other learners who want to learn about Python. We actually then store all of that knowledge that everybody's been talking about, and then we can also push that into formal courses about Python. So informal, formal, knowledge share, capital building, and AI is always learning, always listening, asking you, hey, was this useful? Nah, that wasn't useful. All right, I'm not going to send that again. This was useful. Awesome. Sorry, if you didn't get it, ask me, I'll send it to you. So enterprise learning and development, new DNA. So we need to make sure that the learning is now contextualized to jobs, to roles, to skills, right? So what are my job skills that I need to have to be relevant? So, I mean, we've all gone through competency frameworking before. I'm sure it's the world's funnest experience, and it's so useful if you can ever roll it out when it's still relevant. Yeah, I'm seeing some laughter. You've gone through the pain as well. So if we look at kind of the skills gaps that we're facing, you know, and everybody's heard the report that you know, a new skill is only going to be relevant for the next 2 years before it's outdated again. And then the other scary statistic that by 2030, 80% of all new jobs haven't been invented as of today, right? So building a competency framework for something that hasn't been invented yet, yeah, good luck with that. So what we need to kind of figure out is how to kind of keep a lean attitude with an L&D and have technology platforms that assist with that, right? So learning must be digestible. It must be bite-sized. It must be something that isn't a 16-hour PowerPoint slideshow that has, you know, a robot instructor dictating to you, right? Make it lean, make it chunks, make pills, make little bite-sized snacks of learning, whatever those are. Make sure that it's mobile. I mean, in the next 3 to 5 years, our augmented reality interfaces are going to start kicking in. We're seeing it. You know, we've got mobile, and we've got VR technology that's coming out, and it's getting better and it's getting cheaper. You know, I saw a prototype of a contact lens that actually has a heads-up display in it. It's kind of cool, right? So imagine that with learning, right? And as of today, most people consume the most media content on your mobile phone, right? So I'm watching YouTube on the train, on the tube, on the you know, in the car sometimes. You know, so people interact with mobile devices. As we get new interfaces, it's going to change again. So building these huge clunky courses, you can still do it, but I'd warn against it. And it needs to be social and informal, right? You need to have that kind of strategy built into your DNA. So let's talk about what AI is. So in the context of e-learning, it's built on learning-specific algorithms, right? So you got to train the machine. AI typically is built around 3 main processes. So machine learning, deep learning, natural language process, right? So machine learning is a system where a computer learns without being explicitly programmed to pattern recognize. So thousands of patterns, and it slowly starts evolving a system to where it starts recognizing the patterns. Deep learning is kind of how the brain works, and that's kind of a neural network of data that millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and billions of data points get bombarded, and the machine slowly starts to organize that into some sort of artistic comprehension. And the AI programmers during this time are always kind of giving it nudges, saying, "No, that's wrong. Try it over here." And then you've got NLP, natural language processing, and that's the ability of a machine to actually understand intelligently language, right? So when I upload a video into my platform, the machine then listens to that video, transcribes it, prints out another video of Donald Trump shaking somebody else's hand, and we got a deep fake, which I think is the future of learning, by the way. Just kidding. why should I care about personalized learning? Why does this AI stuff matter to me on a personalized learning? So the more relevant the content is to me, the more engaged I'm going to be. Right? So my formal learning plans that I've got to do for my corporate training, for my certifications, all of that stuff, right? So that's somebody telling me what I've got to learn, right? When I want to learn something outside of the work context, I go to YouTube, I go to Wikipedia, I Google it, effectively, right? So why can't my work environment provide me the same opportunity? If you don't engage your worker, without engagement, you're going to need to work 5 times harder to retain your top employees, top performers. So one study I read, and I'll if you ask, I'll find you the data, was that the millennial new hires, one of the strongest data points for them coming to work for a company was the ability to be engaged and learn new things, right? The millennials are hungry for knowledge, right? And it's not to say that I'm a Zennial or Gen X, is not, right? But my ability to consume knowledge is very different than how the younger generations, the people who are 16 to 22 right now, consume knowledge and engage. And if your organization isn't ready for that, you're probably not going to attract the best and the brightest of the world. It allows learners to learn at a pace that suits them. So the just-in-time learning as I need it, the learning in the flow of work, all of the buzzwords. When it's personalized, I need to know learning on this, and this, because I'm about to go visit a client and talk about these things. So give me a job aid real quick. Don't have to go search the LMS for 25 hours. And minute 24, chapter 17, I found the job aid. Just make it available. Let the system find it. It's personalized to me. I find it when I need it. Reflect that each employee has a unique role within the organization. So not all employees, so everybody's unique. So your learning preferences and habits and patterns are going to be unique. And higher learning satisfaction generally leads to higher skilled, happier employees. So if I'm challenged, I'm happy with the amount of stuff I'm learning, I'm feeling challenged, world's changing fast. We've got so much stuff coming at us that, I'm getting overwhelmed, right? So when I've got a system that can figure out my pacing and knows when to insert things subtly, right, feeling a little bit safer. So what are some of the key approaches to personalized learning? So we have adaptive learning, which is technology used to assign resources based on needs. So it's basically when I need something, a resource comes up and becomes available. That's that learning in the flow of work concept. Adaptive learning has been the gold standard, holy grail, fountain of youth that we've been questing for since the 80s when the militaries of the world decided that would be great for a battlefield scenario. All right, well, it's commercially available now. I'm sure the militaries have had it for a while. Individualized learning is adjusted to my preference. Differentiated learning, which is different, is the approach is adjusted based on your individual needs. So individualized learning is it's adjusted to my to meet my needs, and the other one is to be based on my needs. So I'm a boss, you need to learn this. The other one is I want to learn this, right? So you can push. The other one is a guide. And then competency-based learning is here's the skills matrix and competencies. All right, so AI adapts to each learner's needs in theory, right? And so everybody is its own unique bucket. Facebook's algorithms measure you all individually and advertise you to everyone differently, right? So let's do the same thing with our learning, right? Now, one of the things is it should never actually diminish the role of the facilitator, instructor, or the administrator, right? So we become more of guides, we become more of power users that kind of nudge the learning directions of the organizations, right, if done well. AI kind of distributes, it actually collates, it pushes, but the administrators then nudge. All right, so here's some more statistics. 10% of learning organizations are applying personalized learning strategically in their L&D activity. All right, so only 10% are actively doing it. Now, before it was really expensive and complex to set up, so I get that. Now, think of the 10, then we look at 77% of L&D professionals say personalization is vital to employee engagement. right? I'm not going to ask you guys because I've got a lot of slides left. 94% of businesses believe that personalization is key to their success, right? And so Brandon Hall Group has polled thousands and thousands of organizations, and so it's a good data set. 60%, negative 60% user engagement, so user engagement has decreased by 60%, right? So information overload is killing me. I don't know where to find stuff, right? Yeah, we've got tons and tons of resources. I've got Lynda libraries, I've got Go1, I've got this, I've got this, I've got this. I've got so much content, like, I don't even know. 75% of consumers will be more likely to purchase from someone whose offerings are personalized according to individual preferences, right? So if you're offering a personalization solution for your employees or for your end customers, right, that's a huge value add. All right, so let's capitalize on our instinctive ability to use technology, right? So personalized learning is way beyond the technology and algorithms. It's about the conscious thought of blending instructional design and the technology together. So we still need to think about this. AI at this stage isn't going to basically just run your learning L&D department for you, right? You still have to have a strategy. You still need to talk to different business stakeholders, do needs analysis, understand what's going on with the business, talk to the CEOs and the business owners, right? But mapping personalized learning systems with data science allows you to have a lot cooler growth. You can actually be a lot more transparent to your teams, and you can actually benchmark performance gaps a lot cleaner, right? So you can identify goals to incorporate appropriate data analytic thinking frameworks, right? Data is king, right? L&D and HR typically have always had a challenge providing ROI statements to management of why we should exist. Times are good, budget's cut. Times are bad, budget's cut. Awesome. So how do we start giving our business information? Learning is something that has to be interwoven in the fabric of the organization, right? It has to. If I'm not learning, I'm going to be made redundant in a year, right? The CEO knows that. The MD knows that, right? But why are you cutting my budget? Personalization and adaptive learning, the AI provides insight based on enormous data sets, right? It analyzes through the learning platform, data. You gotta feed it. Allows learning platforms to develop a deeper understanding of the learner behaviors, and it helps predict those needs that come up before. It's like, hey, you know what? I've noticed this weird trend on Google Sites that COBOL programming language is not gonna be relevant anymore. So anybody who still programs COBOL probably should get upgraded. The result is the content recommendations based on historical behavior to produce more effective learning has the outcomes that we're going to need in the future. So we need to have an adaptive mindset, a lean, agile mindset to engage in the future workforce, right? And so this AI personalization stuff is really going to help. So how do we personalize? Use historical data sets, right? So we've got to look what happened in the past. We've got to give that, take your old LMS data, drop it into the AI algorithm soup, right? Let it learn from what's happening, what's going on, right? And then you do a feedback loop of always continuous fine-tuning, right? And so it is effort. Training in AI isn't easy. It's likened to basically training from a puppy to a dog and then eventually from a child to an adult. The child to adult part's where it gets scary and may turn on us and take over the world. But for now, it is that feedback loop. So micro-segmentation, so these little bits of data that create this ocean of data is the real key to creating learning that connects on a personal level, right? So you may have, when you're doing your instructional model, and I'm going through my ADDIE model or whatever it is, you take your competencies, each competency should have a nugget of learning, we combine that nuggets of learning, put it into the LMS, and then the AI then sequences those nuggets and builds a learning path according to your needs, right? So the goal is you build out granular data and allow machine learning to actually understand it. So, age of hyper-personalization. Here's just kind of a nice little maturity graph. If we look at personalization where it started, it really was at the marketing team. Well, actually, even before that, it was like the cold calling team. Then you got the robocalls, and then you got the emails, and then you got the robo-emails, right? And then you started segmenting all of those things based on demographics and socioeconomic standings and all of that. Then we've got behavioral recommendations. Oh, all right, so this person shops here or walks every day at 5 p.m. Then you have multiple channel segmentation. Then you have organizations like Spotify, Amazon, Starbucks. I mean, don't believe me, they're using heavy AI. And then the goal is that we do predictive personalization. And so the advertising and the products of the world know us. I mean, they buy data from Facebook to actually serve ads that then drive us to buy, diapers or whatever it is we're going to buy, lattes. So Spotify, as an example, goes beyond just a song and artist suggestion. Right? It learns your listening habits. It looks at your geographic data, and then it says, hey, you know what? Here's a concert recommendation based on what we think we know about you. It's kind of cool. It works fairly regularly for me. Sometimes it gets it way wrong, but all right, I'm willing to take it. 35% of Amazon's conversions are powered by its AI recommendation engine, right? That's huge, all right? It's basically saying, because you bought this, check this stuff out. So just to go in a little bit more depth on Amazon's recommendation algorithm, it's called item-to-item collaborative filtering. So it looks at previous purchase history, items in the shopping cart, items rated or liked by the user, and items liked and purchased by similar customers, right? So imagine if we can do that with learning. That's kind of cool. If I could drive 35% more learning conversions, right? Holy cow, I'd be a hero. So in the learning context, consider this example: previously viewed content. What format that content is presented in. Learning objects saved to personal channels and playlists. Like contact, either formal or informal, or learner-generated social content. And content liked or consumed by others across the organization with similar learning profiles. Right? So all of that's served up. So the learning experience is driven by a deeper understanding of the user's behavior. Right now, as L&D experts and professionals, we don't know a whole lot about what drives our learners' behaviors and why it drives it. I mean, we can do the bubble sheets, we can do the smiles, we can do the informal qualitative assessments, but we still don't know, right? So this will help us get more data. At the very least, we can ask better questions. So AI is kind of like AI without data is a car on empty. It doesn't do anything. Got nothing to learn, got to feed it. So you've got to make it exposed to as many variables as possible. More data is more intelligence. And to create tasks to complete based on the goals of the data as it's fed. So you really have to make this feedback loop. And when you're doing an AI-driven system, make sure it's used. If it's not used, it's not going to work. And so that's a consideration to take into account. Like a fine wine, it gets better over time. So learner interacts with the platform, AI serves up recommended content or administrator tasks. It analyzes those interactions and learns updated preferences, and the loop repeats. The goal is that we've got to train the trainer of the AI, right? So that probably will be the job of most learning administrators in the future, is you've got to train your AI. So you'll buy an AI with 15 pre-programmed buckets, and then you've got to train it on your business and on your learners and on how it's going to actually interact with your organization. So deep learning and artificial neural networks, it's going to represent the jump from telling computers what to do and providing examples of what to do and letting them figure out how to apply it to other situations. So, all right, computer did this time. Here's a new situation, what's it going to do? And as that gets better and it gets smarter, it'll actually be more predictive and more correct in its recommendations. Vastly improves classification. So content organization, nightmare, right? I don't know if anybody remembers the old days of the learning object repository and metadata. Wow, you have to have a PhD in library science to understand it. So AI just looks at the content and says, yeah, here's how we're going to organize that. Right? You've got to train it to do that, but it does it really quick, right? The accurate classification minimizes resources needed to repurpose content, and the potential to improve classification and instructional design recommendations based on how it's actually being used and how it sees. It's like, hey, you know what? That model of instructional theory, it's not working for anyone. It's like, really? Why? I was told that it works. It's like, yeah, sorry, here's the data. So the impact on data and digital learning, the content analytics, the optimization of learning modules, content consumed, analyzed to maximize impact. We better enable optimization of course content and delivery. Currently, right now, we've got to do all this manually. So the goal is to automate as much as possible through massive amounts of training. Sorry, I'm going pretty fast because I'm over time, and I've got like 5 slides left. So. Uses deep neural networks, deep learning to process the data. This helps admins identify areas where learners might require reinforcement, and it identifies gaps where content is necessary to fill gaps. So this gap analysis is one of the big things that we've got missing in our learning industry. How do we take stuff that we don't know about, and how do we fill it with stuff that we know about? And so if this can tell me 5% of the time, here's a gap, awesome. That's 5% savings or performance enhancement I can make. So the goal is that this should, if done correctly, will take personalization to levels that is for me. When I log onto YouTube, if my kids don't get there first, I get the stuff that I want to see. When I'm on Netflix, again, if my kids don't get there before me, I get the stuff that I want to see typically. Netflix is kind of all right? But Amazon's pretty spot on. I mean, it knows stuff that I want before I even knew that it existed. So why can't we do it with learning? So to conclude, think about AI as a vehicle for foundational change in L&D. You don't have to make the investment now. You will have to make that investment. It's coming whether we want it or not. Data is your friend, and it's not a static. AI is not a static thing. It's always evolving. So thank you, guys. We're right behind if you want to talk more. Sorry I rushed this last bit, but it's been great. Thanks.